So this is game two of the Cubs overdrive strategy season here. Really interesting game. It gets super ugly at the end, but in the beginning is an example of how this is all supposed to work, how it all goes together. I make some really dumb mistakes. This game could have been so much better, and as it turns out, um, in the end, I'm actually questioning my strategy of pulling my outfield in. The AI hitting here does some, really takes me to task and launches the ball all over the place. And there's a few times that simply having fast players and being able to get into a gap actually saves me defensive runs. And I'm not often in that position here. So that's kind of a fail at a dive. Billy Harper's going to come back and nail me later on this game. He's the Padres' fastest player, I think, him and Cornette. Um, Starting out with Slider Fulton. It's the second game of the season. He'll pitch one inning because we actually make it to the bottom of the order. I'm moving my outfield in here after the first strike on, I believe this is Sam Scorcher. I believe it is. And the reason I do that, I pick that timing, is that there seems to be a better than even odds chance that I reset the batting AI when I do that, and it'll induce that empty swing again with the pure fastball down. You'll see pure fastball strikeouts a lot in this game here. I believe that this guy here gets a little off, and I end up striking out with just a regular pitch. So when you're not working with super curveballs and you're not working with knuckleballers, fastballs down, and then switch them up with the regular pitches to the outside. So Will Windup is a super fastballer, and super fastballers are really devious in this game, because not so much because they're super fast, although that is a pain in the butt, and you'll see me swing and miss a few times, but because of the sheer variation they have in their pitch speed. I think he gets down to 54 miles per hour as well in this game. And right now what I'm doing with Stealth is I'm just testing his pitch order and where this AI proclivities are. Stealth is perfect for that because he covers the plate defensively, so he can get on base just by hitting a weak ball. So you can just cover the plate. So Curtis Swing puts down a sweet bunt here. In this case, I actually made it to third base, and I'm going to start the anti-pickle, which moves Swing to second, giving him a double on the bunt. And I'm going to do that a couple times here. Bayless, I usually will hit line drives or try to drive the ball. There's 54 miles per hour. I mean, he just messes me up here, and I'm done with it. I hate facing super fast ballers, so I'll wait for the next curveball or changeup, and we went ahead and bunted again. Bayless is a 9 speed, so he's no slouch on the base paths, and he can beat out bunts, leading to kind of the perfect situation for my cleanup hitter, Ruiz, which is men on base and in scoring position, multiple. So the way that this strategy is supposed to work is that you get multiple base runners on, and then you bat for power. And so the lineup is created strategically for that. And in this case here, you see that I knocked over the catcher with Jimmy's Stealth as he was receiving the ball. He was safe, and if Stealth had gotten there a little bit earlier, the ball would have passed through and Swing would have scored as well. Doesn't really matter because Sizemore, just again, everyday spray hitter, good hit V left, good hit V, excellent hit V right, and triple to the gap in right center field. I'm swinging a little late there, but making decent contact. Jack Hammer is one of my favorite players. This is kind of the moment where I know that the AI defensively for the computer has gone off the rails, because that hit and the one that Cutter Wells is going to hit here are balls that normally or under different circumstances will be caught by the center fielder, by the outfielder, and they just trickle by. Yeah, looking silly again on the super curveballer. So it's like playing a human competition, I think, is that they can just screw with you, and the AI seems to really enjoy doing that with super fastballers. So that ball probably shouldn't have hit the ground. That's what I'm talking about when I just, it's almost like you're seeing the Matrix. You've got timing down, and you can almost do no wrong when you hit the ball. And both of those guys getting on base while hitting for power without support on the base paths already is almost unheard of. So it's a good indication that we can score a ton of runs this inning. Frank Slater, what a nothing at bat there. That was such a waste. I mean, first major mistake of the game is to not bunt him, not trust the system that I've got going on, which is to just push the base runners along. Luckily, I'm saved here by pinch hitting. I could have chosen Pope or Paisley in this position. I want to save Pope for later because he's a better contact hitter, gives you more options, where Paisley is, I mean, he's pretty much pure power. If you're not batting for power when you've got him up to bat, you're wasting your time. So I'm going to let him get the outside fastball, and now he's going to throw one right down the middle, and Paisley's just going to rock it. You know, love this guy because, and I love using pinch hitters just in general because, you know, something, it just adds some variation to the game. You play the same 8 batters all the time, and over a 162 game season, it gets, I wouldn't say boring, but like, you know what you're going to expect with Cutter Wells or a Rebel Ruiz, and you just, you know, it doesn't get boring. But having a pinch hitter come up there and just, you know, do their thing, you know, it's fun on the stat sheet. It's fun in the regular game, just in general. So I've knocked the pitcher out, which is the primary objective, as early as possible with super fastballers, is to get them out of the game because they can just make you look silly throughout. And this game is going excellent, by the way. Jimmy Stealth, again, you know, got a little lucky with the bunt there. I meant to push it off to one side or the other. But getting through your lineup in the first inning, you know, probably happens maybe 1 out of 10 times, you know, 1 out of 10 games or so. Like, you just get really hot. And yeah, inside fastball, by the way, if that was a regular game, like in real life, that would have hit Curtis Swing, free base. Again, I'm trying to push the ball. I'm looking for slower pitches that I can push or pull based on timing. I just gave up there. And again, I mean, second baseman probably should have gotten that one. It just feels like the AI is letting things go. And in this case here, I mean, this inning could have been so much bigger, but another wasted at bat. Bayless here just, I think he pops out to pitcher, and it's such a waste. So we're going to end this inning at 7-0. At least we got Will Windup out of the game, and because he's a serious pain in the butt. And I think the next game we're going to face another super fastballer, and we're going to use roughly the same strategy, just nickel and dime him to death until he gets yanked. So Willy Mills, this guy, he takes me apart in this game. In game 1, just, I don't know what I'm doing wrong with him. I think that it has something to do with the avatar. Like, you can be, like, the big guys, they definitely have different, like, hit zones and strike zones. Not strike zones necessarily, but they won't swing at the same cheese that these little guys will swing at. And so you can't really strike them out with the fastball outside method. Once in a while you can get them swinging or waving at an outside pitch, but for the most part, you're kind of stuck just pitching to these guys and just hoping for the best, hoping they don't, you know, they have bad timing, they swing early, and just hit it right to one of your outfielders. And in this game, I mean, just the computer, awesome. Willie Mays here out in center field, Jimmy Stealth doing a little dive. Probably saved a run there, actually. If it didn't save a run, it saved me from being in a really bad position. And unfortunately, in this game, I've got to do that a lot. This one probably should have been gone. Like, it just feels like in this case, I'm not pitching any differently. I just want to call that out, is that I'm not, you know, I'm not throwing right down the plate any differently. There's no, luckily got that at shortstop. That could have been trouble too. But already I'm getting rocked by the hitting AI, and I, maybe it's because I just loaded up the first inning. I don't know. So Rebel Ruiz here. Wish this went for a home run. He had a couple really good hits this game, but no home runs, which is kind of an anomaly. A triple there, he's able to leg it out because the computer threw it to second base. The computer just doesn't give enough respect to max speed. So Razor Sizemore doing what he does best here, just stray hits, get to second base, start out Jackhammer and Cutter Wells with a guy on second. That's the optimal way you can start in a bat for many reasons, but I think this inning goes off the rails here. Now at this point, I haven't watched the video before. I only watched to this point because the rest of the game gets super frustrating. So I'm gonna try to keep emotion out of my game call here. But this is a very interesting home run, actually, 432 feet, and I don't know what causes the fireworks. I don't know because Jim Paisley got fireworks too, but it's odd because you can hit 433 out to center field, and that's the minimum you can hit in home run derby, and the maximum you can hit to the corners, like the deep corners, without being in center field is 422 feet in home run derby. So Hammer got a hold of that ball. He hit it optimally, as well as getting a fast pitch to hit where it gave him extra velocity and exit velocity on the ball. So 432 feet is kind of a strange home run distance to get. It's not that important in the grand scheme of things. It's just something that you notice over time, especially if you test the home run derby and you're looking at game geometry and whatnot. I think that the game divides the actual field up into 3 triangles, and it's not exactly at the elbows of the outfield. There's a little bit of overlap. Center field overlaps a little bit over the elbows, and I think that's because the shadow of the ball is actually what we should be looking at. We're looking at home run trajectories at those locations, but there's a definite cutoff point in terms of home run distance when you get to the elbow there. So crappy play here. And the computer actually decides it wants to try to play pickle there, and it can catch you up. So even when you're messing around the base paths, be a little careful. Jimmy Stealth coming up for the 3rd time in 2 innings. I'm really trying to place the bunt here, and you're gonna notice that the best bunts are generally down the 3rd base line because it is the longest distance for the pitcher to throw. So you've got the pitcher having who moves slowly already, and then you've got the pitcher who also throws at a minimum velocity, which is kind of ironic. He's a pitcher; you'd think he'd have max velocity, but no, he gets the 1 rating for power. So the anti-pickle there. Right now, I'm great place for Curtis Swing, who's he's in this case here. Oh man, see, I just messed up my timing so bad. I pressed the wrong button. Instead of leading off, I swung, and that would have been more runs. That inning should have been probably we would be at 12-0 had that worked out. What a waste there. And that's how this game goes from pretty much here. It's just it's dumb mistakes, pressing wrong buttons, bad timing, and you're gonna see me I'm gonna bat badly, mostly because I'm looking for any way to shake up the AI from here, the pitching AI, because it's almost like they tighten down, and I know that it's probably just me with bad timing, 90% of it, but I really do try to switch it up and get I don't know, a better look at the ball. So again, the game ends 15-1. So most of the fireworks have happened already. This is cool. So I got the timing right and picked off the guy at first. A lot easier to do with left-handers. I think just the animation's different. So it's not really a cheat or anything like that. But if you not right away, but maybe a half second or a quarter second after you're able to throw to first or throw to second, do it, because you have a chance of catching the runner in the act of leading off. And when they're early enough in the act of leading off, the animation to get them back on base isn't fast enough to beat the actual throw. So you get them out. You can get them out at second or at first. Nothing hit there from Sizemore. But at third base, the runner never really leads off, and the game, it doesn't really have to, because the game won't try to take a base unless it's absolutely certain, either via sac fly or via a hit. That, oh god, I hate that guy, Willy Mills. Anyhow, they're not going to take a base unless they absolutely know they're going to make it. Whereas that's the exact opposite the way that I play, which is I'm going to take the base regardless, and if I get caught out stealing, well, that's tough. So I was trying to jump there with Jack Hammer at shortstop. He is kind of a liability in the field because he is a little slower. He doesn't make it to the gap as quickly as, say, like if I were to put Sizemore in there, or Jimmy Stealth, or even a Pop Risley would be a better quote unquote fielder. But it's a good place for him to hide in the field. He doesn't really hurt me a ton. It's a lot better to have your max guys out in the outfield. So Hammer actually got a really good swing there. He was just super late, and this is kind of the beginning of my troubles. I'm letting, when the pitcher indicates either far left or far right, I'm kind of letting him go at this point, because it's probably going to be a junk pitch. Now, if he's a slider pitcher or a screwballer or even a super changeup or super curveballer, you've got to be a little bit more careful. But generally, the AI will, get you one time with that. So the first guy you face, he'll mess you up by going outside and hit you with a super curveball over the plate. But after that, you can pretty much catch on as long as you're patient with the AI. So that near perfect bunt, kind of a bummer that didn't go down. So try again, and got it that time. Bunting again is it's the best factor you have for getting base runners on, which is the entire point of this strategy, at least, is to put base runners on in bulk, 2 or 3 at a time, and then rely upon good timing, good contact, and great power from your big guys like Rebel Ruiz, Cutter Wells, Jack Hammer, even Danny Bayless and Razor Sizemore are all capable of hitting home runs at any time. So stolen base, it is possible to do. You're looking for a pitch that's under 70 miles an hour, preferably. If you're not using max speed, you have to use a guy like a Duke Hudson or a Danny Bayless, who is incredibly close to max speed here. That ball could have been gone, and I wasted my timing at third base. I could have held back and forced the throw to home and gotten extra bases there, up to a triple. So Frank Slater kind of, gets the, just a series of bad choices here that incrementally this game could have been so much better. Again, we've got runners on first and second, so base runners are not a problem. It's all about the timing. It's all about picking your moments, and the way this strategy works is you kind of put all your eggs in one basket. Again, crappy timing here, man. Luckily I they're fast enough to make it around, but I really need to be paying more attention here. So Bayless again, with him, I'm just trying to protect the plate, and he does get the run in. So at this point, it's 14-0. So if you were to quit watching this game right now and go back to whatever you're doing, like eating a sandwich or whatever, you are not going to miss anything other than me making really bad choices, getting owned in the field by the hitting AI, to the point where they actually score a run on me, not using a home run. And I mean, I guess in the benefit, you'll see a lot of me pitching and getting strikeouts using the fastball method. So it's kind of an all or nothing thing, it appears. And you'll see some pretty wicked fielding as well, some really cool diving plays. Jimmy Stealth early on, saved me a run there. But this game, so frustrating. It should have been 20 or even 25 to 0. But sometimes it just works out that way, where in this case here, they put in a super curveballer, a lefty, after I ran through 2 of their righties, one of them a super fastballer and the other one a slider, which those guys seem to have roughly the same AI. So Frank Slater, clutch defensive play at second, Might have gotten him out anyway by throwing to first with Ruiz because he was on his way, but fielding stats, like the pre-built in the box stats for fielding, matter, if at all. They matter so little compared to your actual speed and ability to get into the gap. Your speed also influences, I believe, what your slide radius is. How far you can dive for a ball. This guy is just with this pitcher in particular, because the Cubs start out the season with the Padres every time, and then the Dodgers all at home. I'm used to facing these pitchers in particular a lot, and just because you start a season just for testing purposes or whatever, and that's so you get to know these guys a little bit. And with Kasovic in particular, he seems to be kind of an all or nothing dude, based upon how I can get to his timing. So that was a super curveball. Cutter Wells, because he's kind of a weaker hit V left, so he's like Curtis Swing without the speed and with more power. And so I usually try to rake with him. Good idea with Frank Slater here. So again, it's not the base runners are the problem, it's the conversion of them. And I'm already going to be on my fourth pitcher going into the sixth inning, which is also kind of odd. So I'm running through my pitchers, but I've got nothing to show for it. And eventually I'm going to end up having to use my emergency pitcher, which is Dave Stevens. And you can tell how often I use him later on because I don't even know how to select him. So Billy Pope, yeah, I really want him to be successful because he is really awesome. But in this case here, my timing is so bad. I should have swung at that. I should have taken that yard, but I just didn't trust where he was throwing it. And I try to overcorrect here, and I'm too close to the ball. He pitches it inside, and I just get absolutely zero anything on that. Just a harmless foul ball. So I'm going to try not to be terribly boring the rest of the way through because, if you're watching this, you deserve better than just watching just a crappy game go down. But this is where I get into serious trouble. So Billy Harper is the fastest guy on the Padres. He really wouldn't make it on my team anywhere because he's not fast enough, right? He's basically Cutter Wells speed or Jackhammer speed, basically a 7 rating. So normally I don't worry about him at all. But in this case here, he managed to take one to the gap, really leg it out to third base because the AI knows when it can take the base. They know that Jimmy Stealth has zero power out there, and so he could take that. He could take it. So I struck out one guy, and with Anvil Groves here, another fun name. He's one of those guys that I wish were better because I would totally play him more. On the Padres, he's actually pretty good player. Struck out another guy here. So this is the fastball, outside fastball method of getting out base runners, and especially worse on the little guys. Here, see right there, Jackhammer. If I had timed that better, nothing happens, and I wouldn't just throw the rest of this game away. But I did get scored on. In a way, it's probably good that it happened now in the season just to get it over with because I have this thing with perfection. I don't know, like it just bugs me that I can get scored on, and there was really no reason for it. It was totally preventable, as well as kind of the rest of this game. Like I can start seeing the weak points of my game. Strong points obviously are putting base runners on. Jimmy Stealth is, he's 5 for 5. Curtis Swing, I believe he might get his first out here of the season because he didn't get this first out of the season. It was just a fail and double play. See, just awful base running, just too aggressive. I'm trying to make stuff happen here, and it's not working out. Now Bayless being switch hitter, he's actually at an advantage here, but just so late. I was thinking, some sort of a regular pitch there, and right now I'm just, a regular curveball can fool me. I'm frustrated. I remember this part of the game where it's just like, just get this one over with because I'm hating life right now. So he actually made really good contact just too early, and the inning's over. So Harry Tyson as a pitcher, I don't really like using left-handers unless they're left-handed super curveballers, and lefty super curveballers are fun to use. So my favorite ones are um, Flex Bowman on the Marlins and Cobra Canes on the Angels. Those guys are a ton of fun. I've found that, at least for me, it's easier to paint the inside and outside of the plate while using those guys. And you can get the arc on your super curveball. You can use it two ways. You can either arc it so much that the computer swings early and just swings right through it, or you can start it out without arcing it at all, and then prevent arc at the end to catch the other side, catch the outside of the plate, and that's how you can get guys just standing there that strike out looking, and that's always fun to do. It's just generally when I'm playing these games here, when I'm playing semi-seriously, just trying to make it through a season, I'm not looking to have a make it take a lot of time, so I'm just very efficient with my pitching. I'm not really looking to do special things while pitching or fielding. All I want to do is hit. So Rebel Ruiz there, again, great contact, just not good enough, and gets to second base. He wasn't fast enough to leg out the triple because he hit the ball hard enough that it bounced off the wall, and not enough time was there to get to third. Sizemore, good idea. A little bit more on that ball. It's in the gaps, and gap in Ruiz scores. I think at this point, with Hammer, Jack Hammer and Cutter Wells and Danny Bayless, those three guys in particular, because of their boom or bust type of hitting, or the way they hit, I tend to, and plus it's fully contingent. My run scoring is fully contingent pretty much on those guys getting big hits, and so I try to go big with them. And what I've noticed, so great hit by Cutter Wells, perfect into the gap, exactly what I was needing there. So that's the last run of the game. So for sure you can shut it off now. There's going to be no more real action, just a bunch of strikeouts on the other team. But what was I saying? Okay, so I strike out probably once a game or once every other game on average, and it's always because I'm expecting a fastball or expecting a regular ball. Frank Slater there. Again, just a little bit more on that ball, and you're in business. So my timing is just a little bit off, and I'm doing the right things. I'm hitting the ball at the right time. I'm just not getting enough on it, and I don't know if that's because of something the pitcher's doing, or some randomization of the AI. Perhaps whatever multiplier the power or contact VX is something's different about it. I don't know, but like you can tell. So this, oh god, this pisses me off so much. I had the ball. This is a double play ball. So if you're too close to a base and you throw to the base, it actually takes a lot longer for the ball to get there because you can't flip the ball quickly. The animation for the flip, and actually I think it's the sound. Great play out here though, saved me. I think the sound is what makes it take so long. But I tried to run the ball to second with Slater, who just ran in front of the bag instead, because it's so easy to run horizontally, left or right, or up or down, like in or out. But it's not as easy to run diagonally in this game. And I just messed up, and so ran around the bag trying to get there. And then by the time I got the guy out at second, it was too late to throw to first, and damage was done there. A ton of hits in this game. It just looks awful. So I guess the good news is that all of my pinch hitters make it into this game. The last guy to hit is Mike Decker. I use him only when, or generally when, there's either no one on base, or there's one guy on base and 2 outs, and I just don't really care about the situation. I try to hit for power with him, just because it's better than hitting with a pitcher. He's got halfway decent, replacement level contact, but sub replacement level power and almost zero speed. at all. He's about Jim Paisley fast. Jimmy Stealth actually got too much on that ball. That's the problem with Stealth, is that if you hit ground balls and you hit him hard, his speed is negated. So you want to hit the ball softly whenever possible. And then Curtis Swing, just a nothing out there. So that was his first official non-successful plate appearance as far as the game is concerned of the season. So that's how you get some ridiculous stats. I mean, Willy Mills again into the gap, and then just at this point, because I know he's not going to take second, I'm just flogging myself here by running to the wall. Kind of a fun thing you can do. Once in a while, if you get like a super duper arc on a home run ball, just get a ton of lift under it and not a ton of distance, you can get the outfielders or the opposing outfielders to slam themselves against the wall, which is kind of a funny bonus for hitting a home run. I think I've done it a couple times where I didn't hit a home run, but usually the outfielder will be jumping at that point around the warning track area just to try to get you out. So you'll notice the fielder assist in that play in particular. I mean, if you're still watching, thank you. But the fielder assist there moved Ruiz in support of Frank Slater, just in case. That's a nickel and dime hit. That kind of hit can't really be prevented. I mean, that's always going to be there. The only way you can defend against that is to immediately be moving your shortstop into the second base gap after the pitch, which is high risk maneuver, because if the ball is hit just a tick harder, you're actually the control is given to your center fielder first, and that's how you can get balls past you in the outfield, which is the last thing you want. And just poor fielding again. I mean, there's no reason for this. Like that one right there, Frank Slater, I should have just posted up and let him catch the ball normally instead of trying to dive. But I'm, even after 19 or 20 years of this game, still trying to figure out, fielding strategy. Luckily here, harmless fly ball, exactly to where I wanted it to go. And the game is over. Again, I mean, instead of crushing them, I beat them. I don't know what crush, how to get those words there. Way too many hits by the Padres. They're just killing me. No home runs really to speak of for the Cubs. Batting averages remain high, but that game could have been so much better. Thanks for watching.